event because it stems from the same power, the imagination the universe gives young people to try to make a difference. And believe me, you've made a difference, and we're very, very proud of you. On a practical note, the women will see if their hair conditioners really work. We are so proud of you, and we're delighted to have you here. I'd like to begin the event by introducing T.M. Gibbons-Neff, who is the newly elected president of the Georgetown University Student Veterans of America. T.M.
Thank you, Brother Kurt. And thank you all for coming out for this very special and wet afternoon. I was thinking just earlier that somebody in A.T. Hill, Virginia is in the field getting rained on. Yeah, thank you so much for having this event finish here and doing this for Community Warriors and for us. I know myself and friends in this room have lost brothers and had friends who have been wounded severely, and I know when I hang out with them in Walter Reed and go to events like this with them, they can't appreciate it any more than they do. They're astounded by how much people come out and see what they do for them. So thank you, and thanks for coming on behalf of Georgetown and Georgetown Student Veterans.
Team 185 has crossed the finish line, so please let's give them a round of applause. The presentation of the awards for 2012 Runners and Bikers will be given by Ashley Ackenhauser, 145 Heroes co-founder. Ashley?
Anyone see? Okay, well, welcome. Thank you, all of you, for being here today, enduring the weather, and just your awesome support along the way. First and foremost, I want to thank our amazing leadership team. Dave, where are you at? Dave, stand up. Basically, everything with Georgetown and our event. And where is my awesome sister-in-law, Lauren? Stand up, please. I'll go with Kelly, Nicole, and myself. You guys go ahead and stand up. Basically put together what you see here, all the logistics, the public affairs, the fundraising. We start about a month after this event for the following year. We do all of this pretty much 3,000 miles. I'm 3,000 miles away. And so we basically do a lot of this planning through phone, through Skype, just any way we possibly can on the road. So. Again, thank you to all of you, and if we could just give them a round of applause. Unfortunately, the co-founder, our other one, is not able to be here today. Clay is actually on his first deployment, and he's probably pacing back and forth on his sub right now. Yeah. He was really upset that he couldn't. But hey, Clay, we passed, or we finished. What you see before you started as a simple phrase. And Lauren, you know this one. Hey, I have an idea. And anybody who knows Clay well enough knows that when he says, I have an idea, it can either be really scary or really, really scary. So when he came to me 3 years ago and said, hey, let's run across country. That's awesome. Okay, so then he called me back and said, no, I got a better idea. Let's start off slow and let's do 185. Okay, we do that too. So what you see before you is him and I, 3,000 miles, just 3,000 miles apart, planning logistics, all that good stuff. What we thought was a one-year thing. Of course, We wanted to do this to honor those who we served with, who have served before us, and who have served after us, who are serving right now, and for those who have lost their lives. Now I'm going to start getting a little bit of emotional. This year, we passed the torch on. It was on John and Chris. They were our runners last year. They passed on the torch to our runner this year, who finished incredibly strong. Right by his side was our wonderful bicycle team. First off, Matt Johnson. Matt here. Can everyone hear me? All right. Matt is actually a really good friend of ours. He's been with Clay, since boot camp? Matt signed on this year and has been a phenomenal support, along with Jason. Jason, come up here as well. These two are the most laid-back, positive, easygoing guys. Basically kept Mark and I in check the entire time. They offered an incredible amount of support. It's just like having just a bunch of brothers on the trail. Thank you guys so very much. What you've done these 7 days, you have no idea what impact that this has done. What we're able to do with everything that we have raised, and just the support for those that we do this for. So Matt Johnson.
Thank you.
And last but not least, by all means, Mark Lopez. Come here. I'll be nice. I have never seen someone with as much heart and spirit and dedication as Mark. He ran this thing by himself. We had a team. Unfortunately, Saul was not able to be here with us. But Mark took on the challenge and did it flawlessly. He has, half a blister. Yeah. And smiling, joking along the way. And the heart behind it and the reason why he did it was so incredible. There was nothing, I don't think, that could have stopped you, no matter what. And I want to thank you on behalf of myself and Clay for taking on this challenge and doing it with just such passion. And thank you so very much.
No worries, too easy.
It's too easy. Very, very much. So,
I guess that's me then. I'm not as emotional as this one. Yeah, I just got back from a long run. You're all here, right? Now that this week is over, I trained a lot, and I was really worried this whole time since last September. I was worried I know Clay and Ashley both came away with a lot of injuries, and I was training a lot for this run, and I was really worried. I told Clay, I called Clay up, I think in May. I was like, Clay, I can't do this. This is too hard. This is too much, buddy. I can't do it. I'm so sorry. I gotta quit on you. And we had a little powwow, and he lifted my spirits, and then I got right back to training. I stopped training for about a month, and he just lifted my spirits right back up. He was like, Mark, he was like, this is going to be a defining moment for you, and it really is. I kind of wish it was harder now that yeah, I think I trained too much. But I'm really glad that all of you are here. It's horrible weather, I know it, but I'm so happy that all of you are here, and I'm so happy at how much money we were able to raise. I want to say thank you to my support. I've known Matt for about 4 years now, Jason for about 2. They really did. They carried us through. If it weren't for them, it would have been a boring, long, painful week. But these guys gave me a lot of encouragement that whole week. And Father, I'd like to thank you for coming out every year. I know you came out the first year and last year. I really appreciate your support. It really does mean a lot to this team. And each and every one of you, thank you so much for coming out today.
It's now my honor to introduce you to the Ceremonial Honor Guard from the Navy Information Operations Command in Maryland. I ask you to stand, and the national remain standing, so that we have a moment of silence for all of our wounded veterans, and particularly for our fallen veterans. Thank you. Please sit down. For those few of you who do not know how this works, each day on the trail is dedicated to a different wounded veteran. The team has read the veteran's bio in the morning to provide inspiration throughout the day's journey. And we now know, don't we, that it works. We are honoring 6 extraordinary people this afternoon. Petty Officer First Class Tom Hammond, United States Navy, who was not able to be present. Tom joined the United States Marines in 1989, shortly after high school, and served for over 16 years in both the Navy and the Marine Corps. He has been deployed to over a dozen countries. Todd was wounded while serving as an explosive ordnance disposal technician in Afghanistan and is currently recovering at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Todd's goal is to return to active duty sometime this year and finish out his remaining years until retirement. Sergeant Craig Gadd has joined the UK National Army to be part of the elite commando engineers at the age of 20. During his 19-year career, he was deployed numerous times, including to Iraq and Afghanistan, working alongside American counterparts. Craig was wounded working as part of an advanced service team in his last deployment to Afghanistan. He is currently in rehabilitation at the Defense Medical Rehabilitation Center, Headley Court, and as a member of the Combined Services Disabled Ski Team, hopes to participate in the 2014 Winter Paralympics. Specialist Nick Stayback, U.S. Army, has joined the United States Army in 2009 at the age of 19. He was deployed to Afghanistan as a sniper and was wounded by an IED into 12/11 after recovering at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Nick will be completing an internship at the Pentagon this fall. Sergeant Robert Scott, U.S. Army, after working as a broker trading assistant on the New York Stock Exchange and experiencing the terror of September 11th, 2001 firsthand, Robert enlisted in the Army in 2005. Robert was deployed to Iraq in support of Operations Freedom and sustained a traumatic brain injury in 2009 from a tanker blast. He has made a miraculous recovery and currently resides in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Robert's goal was to assist other warriors in dealing with the effects of traumatic brain injury. Robert, will you please stand? Air Crewman Second Class J.P. Fitzmaurice is sadly deceased, United States Navy. His wife Jackie is here this afternoon to accept the honor on his behalf. J.P. Fitzmaurice joined the Navy in 2004 as an aviation electrician's mate and continued his service as a naval air crewman. He completed tours with Helicopter Training Squadron 8, HT-28, and HM-15. Fitzmaurice passed away in a helicopter crash in Oman while conducting heavy lift support operations in 2012. Fitzmaurice is survived by his very proud wife, Jackie. Jackie, would you please join us? CP George Williams, Captain U.S. Army. Our next speaker is CPT Captain George Williams. He's the friend of one of our outstanding volunteers, Rebecca Arpin. Captain Williams spent 16 years on active duty in the Army and is now a part of the Washington State National Guard. He has gone on 2 combat tours, both to Iraq in 2004 and Afghanistan in 2009-2010. He received the Purple Heart for wounds received in action in Iraq and is here to talk about how he recovered. George Williams.
Captain George Williams. I'm very proud to be here to speak with you guys today. When Becky, Rebecca Arpan, right there, right in the back, taking a video, she asked, she and I have been friends for a long time, and she asked me to come out here and speak to you guys about what happened to me. And I thought about what kind of speech I'd give, and I thought about the things I went through, and I decided the speeches are a dime a dozen. So what I'd rather do is tell you a little story. The story won't take long, I promise. We'll get through this. All right, so the title of the story is Don't Eat the Chicken. A tale of bad food, misguided intentions, chaos, heroism, and recovery. So there it was. December 2004. 1st Brigade, 25th ID is on duty in Iraq, Mosul, Iraq, for about 4 months. We got there in September. And I'm the battalion signal officer. I don't know if most of you know that, I'm sure you do. I'm the battalion signal officer for Brigade Support Battalion in support of 25th ID. And we're stationed at Bob Merez, which is in the southwest corner of Mosul. On December 21st, 2004, a chilly winter's day, my friend and I decided to go to lunch at the chow hall there on Bob Merez. Now, as chow halls go, this was a pretty good one. It's very big, the biggest tent I've ever seen. It offers a wide variety of food. Anybody's been employed, that the KBR does a pretty good job, usually in variety of food. Lots of near beer, because we're not allowed to drink over there. And it really was just the biggest tent you could ever possibly imagine. I've never seen a tent so big. It was so big that it could be easily seen from outside the camp, and was regularly a target of the surgeon mortar teams. They'd drive up with a little Toyota or whatever they had over there, pop up with a trunk, start shooting off rounds. Now the good thing is they were terrible shots. So more often than not, they either blew up a latrine or something, just put some holes in the ground. They didn't really cause that much damage. So my friend and I got our food, and we were sitting at our table trying to decide whether or not the chicken and the roast beef were actually edible that day. And I had just finished the roast beef, and I was suspiciously eyeing the chicken when it happened. Chaos. The next thing I know, I was spiraling back into consciousness, and I'm hearing my name being called off in the distance. Kind of like being really drunk, and you have dealing with the bed spins, but times 100. That's what it felt like when I was coming away. So things got clearer, pain engulfed me. I saw my friend's face above me, and I saw the relief in her eyes as she could see that I recognized her. So I was asked questions to determine whether or not I knew where I was, what had happened. Well, I knew where I was, I had no idea what happened. So all around me I could hear noise, I could hear yelling, screaming, orders being given, just generally chaos all over again. My friend tried to help me as best she could, but I could see that she was beginning to panic. She knows my wife, and she was afraid she was going to tell my wife that I had just died. So she was panicking that having to deal with me on the ground. Now, she's an S1 and admin officer, and I was a signal officer. We've had our basic medical training, but nothing to prepare you really to deal with that kind of thing. But out of nowhere, a PFC, of all people, PFC, knelt down while I was laying there, she was above me, and said, "Man, you need to calm down. We have to evaluate him." So she calmed down. They checked me out head to toe, doing the 8 steps of evaluating a cavity. It was line by line. Found all the holes, all the breaks, everything that was pretty much wrong with me. I'll spare you all the details about what happened and the mess that surrounded me. This young PSC was so calm and professional in the midst of this madness. All I can truly say is that he was a hero. He was an absolute hero for taking care of me and taking care of my friend, keeping her from panicking and losing control. So everyone that helped evaluate and evacuate those of us in the tent that day are truly heroes in my book. I wish I really could find that young man and thank him for what he did. And to this day, I still have no idea who he was or whether or not he was even in the Army. Could have been in, I knew he was PFC, so he had to be in the Army, so I just don't know where he was from. Okay, so what happened? What caused this? Unbeknownst to us, a young misguided man snuck into the camp the night before. Don't ask me how he snuck in, but he did. Disguised as an Iraqi Army soldier, and he mingled with the Iraqi Army trainees that were on the base. Because our base was used as a training base for the newly formed Iraqi Army at the time. The daily routine for these trainees is more or less the same as it is for our basic training. They get up, they do the thing. When they go to chow, they file into the chow hall, single file. They get their food, they get to the tables, they stand until everybody's with them, they sit, they eat, they stand back up, and files out, just like they did. The young man in question stayed behind. And as soon as the other trainees had moved out, he detonated himself. 22 dead, 70 wounded. At the time, it was the worst attack on coalition forces during the war. My friend was sitting in my shadow at the table. She was right across from me and sitting in the shadow. So fortunately, or unfortunately, however you want to view it, I caught the shrapnel, and she was able to avoid getting that kind of injury. She did pop an eardrum from the blast because it was so near, it was about 20 feet away. But nothing else happened to her, which I'm truly thankful for. So my injuries were severe whiplash to the neck and shoulders, numerous minor shrapnel wounds over the body, a dime-sized hole in the back of my neck, 2-inch wide hole in my right calf, my left humerus shattered, which is the upper part of your left arm, and significant hearing loss. I would be wearing my hearing aids right now, but down 4 pounds. Got rid of that. So fortunately, none of this was immediately life-threatening, and I was relatively stable for the medevac to get out of there. I was flown on a Black Hawk, which at the time was my 3rd helicopter ride ever, which I thought was pretty cool. Of course, I was on morphine at the time, so everything was pretty cool. So Balad, I was down to Balad, then I went to Landstuhl, Germany, and then back to the U.S. I ended up at Madigan Army Hospital, which is at Fort Lewis in Washington State, if any of you are from there. And I spent a month in the hospital at the time. I had 12 surgeries to get rid of a bacterial infection that was in my arm, to repair the humerus, and put it all back together. Like I said, I was a month in the hospital, then 2 months at home, then 5 months in occupational therapy learning how to use my arm again, because it was stuck in a position where I couldn't bend it. So it was a long, tough road, and I'm truly thankful for the doctors, the techs, the therapists, the counselors, and nurses throughout the whole ordeal. And today I'm mostly functional, about 50% of the strength that I was at prior to the incident, and I'm okay with that. You know, life goes on. You know, it happened, and I moved on. So that's really the best way for me to deal with that. So what does this story have to do with all of this going on here today? Well, my friend Becky, you know, she volunteers with Operation Second Chance, and she asked me to come speak about what happened and how I recovered. So she's known me for 11 years, and she saw me go through this at the time. And she knows exactly what it was that I went through. Now, this incident also had a very personal and emotional impact on her. And I know that because of it, that's why she's directly involved in this organization. And I know that she wants all wounded vets to be able to have that kind of recovery that they deserve and have earned. And it just helps them integrate them back. I'm really proud of what she's doing here and what she's done with the organization. And I couldn't even be more proud when she asked me to come speak to you guys today. Now, I wish there had been more organizations like Operation Second Chance back in 2004, 2005. I know that it's been around for a little while, but back then, all the focus was on Walter Reed. You know, Walter Reed's that big diamond in the sky when it comes to the Army and medical recovery. I can't say enough about what the folks at Madigan did for me. You know, they put me back together. They allowed me to stay in the Army because of what they did, and I did recover. However, I do believe that had I been involved in an organization such as this, that my recovery would have been much faster, and I would have been, you know, even better off at the time. So I believe personally that recovery starts with the self. That's the most important thing. A soldier has to choose, soldier or any service member rather, has to choose to get better. No amount of support from outside organizations or even family is going to help unless the service member themselves chooses to be better. Now, I had to work very hard on my therapy, and I chose to deal with the aftermath, the emotional aftermath of this particular incident. And I truly believe that soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marine can do it if they really, really want to. So PTSD is a wound. It's just like a bullet wound or losing a limb. It needs to be addressed through therapy and counseling and possibly medication. But before any of that, again, that service member must choose to be better. So this is where organizations like Operation Second Chance come into play. Outreach programs, support, activities, awareness, all are needed by the community of wounded vets of all services to ensure that the real problems wounded vets face and are addressed and resolved. With the length of the conflicts and the number of wounded vets that are returning, it is imperative that organizations such as this continue to be involved with returning soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. As a wounded vet myself, knowing
So that this great work can continue, we're now going to have a ceremony of the passing of the baton. And 2012, runner Mark Lopez, and 2013, biker Kelly Zadja. And I forgot Jason, I apologize. And now I'd like to introduce Lauren Hubbard so that we can continue on with the recognition of sponsorship and fundraising update for the Georgetown University Running Club.
Hi guys, first of all, on behalf of the Georgetown Running Club, I would just like to say that it has been an honor to participate in this event each year. We would like to thank our sponsors whose help and support have made this event possible this year. We'd like to thank the Corp, Premier Event Pros, Outback Steakhouse of Arlington, Virginia, the Marion Center, Grandma Ann's, the Capital Bocce League, My Athlete Live, Road ID, A Wellness Rounded Life, and all those who have made donations to this amazing cause. This year, 100% of all donations from the 185 for Heroes event will go directly to Operation Second Chance. The mission of Operation Second Chance is to serve wounded, injured, and ill combat veterans. They do this by supporting veterans and their families while they are in the recovery process, by building relationships and identifying and supporting immediate needs and interests. This year, we've already raised over $9,000. Over $10,000. So thank you guys all for coming out today, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Before we end with a prayer, I would like to ask your prayers. For in about 10 days, I'm hoping to purchase a bakery on Wisconsin so we can train disabled bakers, disabled veterans to be bakers, and also we're going to be starting a dog biscuit business. It will be called Dog Pet Dag Bakery, and if I ever see any of you at Georgetown Cupcake, let me Heavenly Father, you have showed your power and might to us today through the hurricane. But you have also shown your power and might for the extraordinary efforts of these young people who want to make a difference in your world. I ask you, Lord, to bless them, to bless us, as we are so mindful of our wounded warriors. We thank you so much for all the benefits that you have given us to be a part of the United States of America. God bless us. God bless America. Amen. Amen.